Ladies, if you're over 60, pour yourself a glass of wine, lock the door, and don't you dare skip this one. Because today, I'm pulling back the curtain on the 12 things older women do when nobody's watching. And trust me, some of them are downright naughty. We're talking pleasure, privacy, and a whole lot of finally doing what I want. So if you're ready to laugh, relate, and maybe blush just a little, stick around till number 12. You won't believe it. Oh, and before we start, hit that like button, subscribe for more savvy senior secrets, and tell me in the comments, what's your favorite thing to do when you're totally alone? 1. They touch themselves without guilt. Let's stop pretending, shall we? Yes, older women touch themselves. Not only that, they enjoy it. And no, it's not just about sex. It's about ownership. For decades, many of us gave our bodies to others, husbands, partners, doctors, even babies. We were taught to be modest, to close our legs, to behave like good girls. But now, we're grown. We're wise. We know what we want, and more importantly, we know what feels good. Masturbation isn't some dirty little secret anymore. It's a beautiful act of self-love. Some women do it before bed to relax. Others do it in the middle of the day just because they can. It helps reduce stress, improve sleep, and increases vaginal health. And yes, it still makes you glow. No guilt, no apologies, just pleasure, finally on your terms. 2, they talk to their bodies, and sometimes thank them. It might sound silly to some, but if you've ever stood in the mirror naked and said thank you to your stretch marks or your soft belly, you know how healing it can be. When we're alone, without the world's eyes judging us, we begin to see ourselves again. Not as someone's wife, mother, or grandmother, but as a woman. Older women take these moments to talk to their bodies out loud. Thank you, legs, for still holding me up. Thank you, hands, for writing letters and holding babies. Thank you, breasts, for feeding and comforting. And yes, sometimes after a steamy solo session, we even whisper, thank you down there, with a wink and a smile. Because we're not embarrassed anymore. We're grateful. 3, they watch spicy movies just for themselves. Not everyone is spending their quiet evenings with knitting needles and crossword puzzles. Some of us are hitting that watch again button on movies that make our hearts race, and maybe a few other things too. And I don't just mean 50 Shades, although let's be honest, Christian Grey had his moments. I'm talking about romantic foreign films, slow-burning dramas, and sensual stories with real chemistry. Older women aren't watching for the plot. We're watching to feel something. That tingling thrill, the anticipation, the reminder that we are still very much alive. And sometimes that movie leads to something a little more personal afterward. Let's just say it's a double feature. For they fantasize, and not about laundry. Let's get one thing straight. Fantasies don't retire. In fact, they get juicier with age. Why? Because we've lived. We've felt. We've got experiences to draw from, and nothing left to prove. When we're alone, our minds wander to places we've never dared speak aloud. Maybe it's a passionate rendezvous on a beach with a mysterious stranger. Maybe it's revisiting that younger man who used to flirt with us at the post office. Maybe it's imagining an entire scene where you're the one in control. Finally, fantasies are private playgrounds for grown women. And the best part, there's no need to be polite. You can make them as wild, romantic, or downright scandalous as you please. 5, they sleep naked and sometimes stay in bed all day. Let's talk about a real luxury most younger women don't even understand. Staying in bed. All day. Naked. No alarm clocks. No toddlers climbing on you. No husband snoring. Just you, your sheets, your thoughts, and maybe a book or two. Older women have learned that comfort is sacred. And there's no better feeling than cool sheets against bare skin, a soft blanket draped over your hip, and zero obligations. Some days, it's toast and tea under the covers. Other days it's journaling, stretching, or maybe scrolling through that one app with all the sexy poetry. And occasionally it turns into a day of slow, sensual discovery between the sheets with no one else around. It's not laziness. It's a ceremony. 6. They dance naked, even with a sag bottom. You haven't truly felt free until you've twirled through your kitchen without a stitch of clothing on, singing your heart out to Tina Turner or Etta James. And who cares if your behind jiggles like a bowl of jelly? That's your behind. It has history. Dancing naked isn't about showing off. It's about letting go. In those private moments, older women remember what it feels like to take up space, to move without judgment. Some of us laugh at ourselves. Others cry. Some just feel powerful. There's no audience, no need to suck in your belly, no pretending. Just music, movement, and magic. And yes, sometimes dancing leads to touching. And touching leads to a whole nother kind of performance. Encore, please. 7. They talk dirty to themselves. Now, here's a secret not even our closest friends know. Sometimes when the house is quiet and the bedroom door is shut, we start talking, but not to anyone else. We talk to ourselves. And not just about grocery lists or which grandchild forgot to call. Oh no, darling. We talk dirty. Yes, really. Out loud. We whisper sweet nothings into our own ears, say things we never would have dared to utter at 30. And we mean every word. Touch yourself slower. You like that, don't you? Don't stop now. It's not about putting on a show. It's about awakening the parts of us we were once told to silence. There's something wildly freeing about being both the seducer and the seduced. No shame, no filters, just you telling yourself exactly what you want to hear. And trust me, it works. Your body listens. Your confidence rises. And by the end of it, you're not just a woman, you're a goddess who knows what she likes. 8. They try toys they never would have touched at 30. Let's have a little chat about the drawer. You know the one, tucked away behind the winter scarves or buried under your heating pad and vitamin D supplements. It hums. It glows. Some of them even talk back now. Yes, we're talking toys, the kind that require charging cables and instruction manuals. At 30, most of us would have blushed just walking past that aisle. At 70, we have favorites. Some women name them. Others categorize them. One for relaxing, one for exploration, one for when you want to see stars. Technology has come a long way, and so have we. These aren't shameful gadgets. They're tools of joy, empowerment, and sometimes full-body revelations. And let's be real, they never get a headache, they're always available, and they don't care if your legs are unshaved. For many older women, toy time isn't just about getting off. It's about reconnecting with pleasure, with curiosity, with themselves. And the best part, you don't have to share. 9. They read steamy romance novels and sometimes write their own. There's something delicious about curling up with a good book on a rainy afternoon, especially when the book makes your cheeks flush and your heart beat a little faster. We're not talking about sweet, G-rated love stories where the biggest scandal is holding hands in church. We're talking steamy, bodice-ripping, panty-melting, can't-put-it-down kind of novels. The ones with forbidden lovers, stolen glances, and scenes that make you need to pause and take a breath. Older women devour these books, not because we're lonely, but because we understand what real desire feels like. Some of us have even started writing them. Yup, behind those sweet smiles at the local cafe are some very creative ladies spinning fantasies with pirates, professors, or passionate ex-lovers who show up at the door dripping wet from the rain. And the best part, you control the plot. You choose when he enters the room, and when you take him to bed. Fiction is freedom, and older women are the ones writing the sexiest chapters. 10. They relive their wildest memories and add a few details. Memory. What a wicked little time machine it can be, especially when you're alone with nothing but the hum of the ceiling fan and your thoughts. Older women don't just daydream. We revisit. We go back to that one night in 1973 when the music was too loud and his hands were all over us in the back of a pickup. We remember the kiss that made our knees weak, the way someone looked at us like we were everything. But here's the twist. When we relive those moments now, we take creative liberties. We add just a little more heat, a slower undress, a deeper kiss. Because in our minds, we're not limited by what actually happened. We're allowed to perfect it. We rewrite our stories with all the confidence, sensuality, and boldness we may not have had back then. And you know what? Sometimes these memories lead us straight to that drawer we mentioned earlier. Because pleasure isn't just physical. Sometimes it starts with remembering just how irresistible we once were and realizing we still are. 11. They make sensual playlists just for themselves. You'd be surprised what's playing in the headphones of that sweet old lady in aisle 3 of the grocery store. Because when no one's around, we're not listening to classical piano or hymns. We're vibing to slow jazz, sultry R&B, and sensual saxophone solos that send shivers down the spine. Older women curate playlists like love letters to themselves. Songs that stir something deep. That one Marvin Gaye song that hits just right at 11 p.m. That Nina Simone track that makes your whole body sway. These aren't just songs. They're soundtracks to our sensuality. Sometimes we listen while soaking in the tub. Sometimes while journaling or dancing. And yes, sometimes while exploring ourselves under the sheets. There's power in music. It can unlock memories, unleash desire, and bring you right back to the woman you were or the one you've grown into. So don't be surprised if our hips start moving when we hear that beat. Even alone, we know how to set the mood. 12. They finally say yes to themselves. Here it is, darling, the quietest, most radical act of all. We say yes to ourselves. After decades of saying yes to everyone else, kids, partners, bosses, expectations, we finally look in the mirror and say, yes, I matter. Yes, I deserve pleasure. Yes, I want more. And we don't whisper it anymore. We mean it. We say yes to slow mornings and lazy afternoons. Yes to naps without guilt. Yes to long baths, dirty thoughts, body oil that smells like jasmine, and sleeping naked on freshly washed sheets. Yes to not explaining ourselves. Yes to turning down invitations, ignoring the phone, or taking ourselves out for wine and dessert. And yes, most of all, to pleasure without permission. Because we've earned this chapter, and if it's filled with laughter, silence, soft skin, and yes, even a bit of buzz from that drawer, well, that's nobody's business but ours.